If we could go ahead and start the meeting, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go ahead and get a roll call, please. I have Supervisors O'Day, Decker, Boyd Frederick, and Berg are excused. Okay. We'll go ahead and start with citizen comments. If there are any citizens to speak, please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak.
Is that on? Ask her to start.
Yeah, could you start over, please? And speak closer to the mic.
My name is Amy Regina. I'm at 4529 29th Ave in Kenosha. Hello, my name is Amy. I'm here on behalf of the Brookside Dietary Department. We are in need of our county board's help. Last December, Fran, our administrator, had a meeting with the dietary department. Fran had told us that we were going to be contracting out to a company called Unidyne, but we would be remaining Kenosha County employees. I have been a Kenosha County employee for almost 28 years now. Fran now has called another meeting with the dietary department. The story has changed. Particulars are that sometime Kenosha County jobs would become into a Unidyne job. We understand if any jobs become vacant, they would be switched over and we would become those employees also. One employee has stated that she was told that she's not allowed to take her break until work was done. Unidyne employees were told this. I'm a Kenosha County employee and we were told that we are supposed to be entitled to our breaks. Fran stated that our breaks are a federal law and Unidyne's not always cooperating with that. There is very much prep work to be done in the dietary department. It takes a lot of time now. Before Unidyne came, we were down 4 positions. One was a lead cook and was never filled. That person was taken out to help in the office, to help Unidyne get settled, and they were filling in before Peggy Clark had left the job and until Unidyne was starting. As of today, that position is still vacant. Unidyne people have hired 2 people now, but are only available to work weekends. The current staff is being denied some PTO because there isn't enough help because we have a lot of people leaving. 3 more of them are cooks that are retiring in July. We have a total of 10 positions that are vacant as of the middle of July. People who have been approved for PTO time could lose their benefit time because we don't have enough help, they're stating. They're unable to let us take our PTO during the weeks. It's because the workload is so increased and the treatment of the staff is not fair. People are wanting to quit because they're not getting their lunch breaks. The workload is too heavy. And we are told that until our work is done, we're not allowed to take our breaks. We haul food carts across the parking lot 6 times a day. The building has no kitchen in there to prep, so everything has to be hauled over. We're going to be doing that until the old building part is finished within 9 more months probably. They made us a tunnel, but it's very hard to walk through it. And Just all I can say is other people are saying that they're quitting because of the treatment and the hard workload. We just don't have enough help. And we are told if we don't like our job or it's too hard that we can go find another one. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Citizen comments? Any other citizen comments? Seeing none, citizen comments are closed. We have two of our youth and governance here tonight. Aubrey Medke and Isabella Ricker are both from the Legislative Committee, and we welcome you. They're here for their first committee, or their first county board meeting. I don't think I have any other, nothing up here? Nope. I don't have any more announcements. We will go ahead and move on. Oh, Supervisor Reports. Supervisor Blau, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to give a thank you. This past weekend was the Derriere ride over to the dairy breakfast, and I wanted to give a thank you to the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department for keeping all the riders safe. Everybody made it. It was very well organized, and everyone had a good time. And I'd also like to give a thank you to Matt Collins and to Jenny Tunkeys for planning such a well-run event. Okay, I would also like to give a brief update on the Pringle Nature Center board meeting from April, because I wasn't able to last month. We met back in April 19th, and everything is going quite well. Matt continues to work with the staff over there on their walk-run programs. They had 3 planned for this summer, and I believe there's some more going on. They're also working on various projects out there, trail markers, and board members are all pitching in to work on various events, fundraising events, etc. For the Naturalist Report, they had reported in May, 17 volunteers had contributed 64 hours of volunteer service. They had 254 visitors come to the center during this period. Without participating in programs, 213 people had come to participate in PNC-led programs, and so they had a total that month of 467 visitors. And in June, or actually in May, they had 35 volunteers that contributed 107 hours of volunteer service. They had 525 visitors come to the center during this period without participating, just walking the grounds, et cetera, and approximately 717 people participated in nature center-led programs, 444 off-site, with a total of 1,686 visitors exposed to the center. So there are a lot of people visiting the Pringle Nature Center. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Supervisor Blau. Supervisor Retzloff, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just going to be a couple comments from our Finance Committee, that meeting we had last week. I'd like to thank Supervisor Gantz for delaying the levy objective for another month to get more data. I think that was a good idea. One of the things that concerned me, that I think is a concern to all of us, is the last 2 years we have missed the sales tax revenue by over $1 million over the last 2 years. And that, I understand that there's some guessing game to that, but to me that's significant. So that we're really going to look at hard, because that is significant amount of dollars. That 2.4 million over the past 2 years is a lot. So we're looking at that stuff. I think the levy will look good this year, I think. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Supervisor Retzloff. Supervisor Hellman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is actually from the National Association of Counties. I think many of you are probably aware, I sit on the Telecommunications and Technology Steering Committee. There was an item that came up at our last meeting that now I think we probably need to weigh in on. The telecommunications industry is looking to deploy small cell antennae towers, roughly 6 feet tall. And state legislatures, they have been petitioning states basically to say, we would like to go into local governing jurisdictions and do this without any objections to the locals whatsoever. In some cases, state legislatures have been able to stop them somewhat, but not entirely. As a result, the industry has then gone to the Federal Communications Commission, which has said, sure, we can look at this and see whether or not this might fall under our preemptive authority to say to the companies, yes, you can go ahead and do this. There are numerous problems with this. In some cases, as a council member from Maryland stated, he said, you know, he had residents that purchased homes in a historical district, particularly because the light posts looked a certain way. And to have a private company come in and say, well, we're going to put our towers on here, our 6-foot antennae, is a bit of a problem for the folks that live there. This is a really, really important issue, particularly because I know we have folks who are not necessarily techie in the room, but you should know driverless cars is coming. And right now, if you have a phone, 99.6% of Americans are connected to what is now known as 4G. And the industry wants to move to 5G to further connect the Internet of Things. It's no longer your phone or your computer or your tablet. It's your refrigerator, it's the lights in your house, it's your smartwatch, and it's even cars. It's significant because at 4G, in order to apply the brakes on a car, it would take that car 4.6 feet in order to be able to stop. At 5G, we can do that in an inch. So this is coming. There's a resolution actually that I drafted today and we'll forward to you, Madam Chair, via email. But this is something I think we need to make our voice heard on. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hellman.
One thing I forgot. I visited San Francisco and was in the airport lounge and found a lovely trade publication that talks about the Internet of Things in 5G. Relatively easy to understand. There's 3 of them for those of you that are curious and want to know more. You're more than welcome to take it. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hellman. Supervisor Bostrom, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to piggyback a little bit on what the gentleman before me was just talking about, and I want to thank him for bringing this subject to the floor. In fact, I just recently had a discussion with the mayor of the city of Kenosha about this exact subject, as there is a bill currently floating around in Madison that will allow AT&T to be one of the first companies to employ this technology throughout the state. And in addition to being able to put these mini co-locators, as they're called, on top of light posts, if they need an extra energy source, they'll also be able to install as big as an 8-foot wide electrical box in the public right-of-way, which here in the city of Kenosha would mean, you know, between the sidewalk and the street. And so, as you can imagine, if our municipalities are going to be peppered with these very large electrical boxes, it can look a little cumbersome. So I certainly encourage everybody to stay involved in this topic and throw your 2 cents in, because it's really important. Thanks.
Thank you, Supervisor Bostrom. No other supervisor reports? Oh, Supervisor Gens, you have the floor.
Could we ask the legislative committee to look at that? I know Boyd's not here, but could we have that on their agenda? I'd
Yes.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other supervisor reports? Supervisor Almerman, nothing tonight?
When our meeting is the first Monday, I always have my executive report on the next Tuesday. This is a break.
Okay. All right, supervisor reports are closed. We'll move on.
County Executive Appointments, 9, Tara Panizwitz to serve on the Kenosha County Workforce Development Board.
Refer to Human Services.
10, Benjamin Harbuck to serve on the Kenosha County Board of Administrative Appeals.
Refer to Finance and Administration.
11, Sandra Basiglia to serve on the Kenosha County Board of Administrative Appeals.
Refer to Finance and Administration.
12, Lou Molitor to serve on the Kenosha County Workforce Development Board.
Refer to Human Services.
New business, Resolution 15 from the Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution regarding Kenosha County Division of Parks Roof Replacement Fund Transfer. Elverman, yes. Grady, yes. O'Day, yes. These are a little bit out of line, so excuse me. Gilmore, no. Bostrom, yes. Franco, yes. Sorry. Yeah, no, it's these, sorry, the lines are not lining up with the boxes. They're all off, so if I did say it wrong, please let me know.
Right.
Finance Administration, Rose, yes. Ron Frederick, excused. Gens, yes. Kubicki, yes. Retzloff, yes. Esposito, yes. Dodge, yes.
Supervisor Elverman, you have the floor.
I move resolution number 15.
I have a first by Supervisor Elverman and a second by Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Elverman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The number of reports that I've given on the roof replacement policy have been numerous. I think it was 3 years ago when we had the first study done, and we are in the hundreds of roofs in the Kenosha County Property Department. They range from little sheds in the parks to the roof that we're sitting under. When we started the roof replacement policy, we took them from the worst, and those two were at the county center. But we've been fortunate in the last 2 years to have a good bidding process, good early bidding, and we have saved money on our budgeted numbers for those roof projects. So, when these emergencies came up at the Kemper Center, and in everyone's packet you can see the pictures, they are leaking, doing damage down below, and in need of immediate repair. Now, these roofs were not on the list for this year. No other roof is on the list for this year. The county center roof project was completed. We again did very well. The money is in the budget for that. We're asking to transfer the saved money to the Parks Department for these repairs. I would call these emergency repairs if you look at the pictures. And again, these repairs will not have to be made next year or the year after. We can't let this continue. We can't let the damage continue for any longer. So, as for your approval, it was passed by 2 committees. Again, there's no new money needed, and these roofs were in our proposals for repair, not this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Elverman. Supervisor Rose, you have the floor.
I just wanted to point out, I think it's well to note that our agreement with Kemper requires us to maintain the buildings. These are replacement of roofs, and it's not the responsibility of Kemper, who is the tenant, to do this. So we're maintaining our own facilities.
Thank you, Supervisor Rose. Seeing no other lights, this is a budget modification, and we will need a 2/3 vote. When's that going to happen?
I'm going to talk to him this week at my conference.
Motion passes.
Resolution 16 from the Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution to appoint Scott Schultz as Director of the Division of Land Information and Land Information Officer. Rose, yes. Frederick, excused. Gens, yes. Dodge, yes. Kubicki, yes. Esposito, yes. Retzloff, yes.
Supervisor Rose, you have the floor.
I would move the resolution appointing Scott Schutze to this position.
I have a first by Supervisor Rose and a second by Supervisor Gens. Supervisor Rose.
Thank you. Mr. Schutze is present this evening in the audience, ready to respond to any inquiry that you might have. He did appear before the committee and made a good presentation and was unanimously endorsed. As you can see from his biographical sketch attached to the resolution, he has been in various capacities with Kenosha County since February of 1996. He approaches the job enthusiastically with considerable knowledge of the everyday operations, and we urge your endorsement. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Hellman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say a thank you to Mr. Schutz. I needed some information about my district so that I could figure out some things around this grocery store that we're losing, and he was able to provide that through the Office of Land Information. In doing so, I want to say to all supervisors, you really should speak with him and ask that he pull the data from the census tracts that make up your district, because in doing this work, there are things that you see with your eye, there are things that you hear from people, and there are other things that you find in the data, and he's a really great resource to find that out. So I want to encourage everyone to seek him out to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hellman. Seeing no other lights, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 17 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution activity control license, Country Thunder East LLC. Blau, yes. Boyd Frederick, yes. Retzloff, yes. Skalitsky, excused. Wambolt, excused.
Supervisor Blau, you have the floor.
I move Resolution 17.
I have a first by Supervisor Blau and a second by Supervisor Retzloff. Supervisor Blau.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Country Thunder is scheduled for July 20th through 23rd of this year at Shadow Hill Ranch. The town of Randall plans on approving or renewing the license the first part of July of this year. Kenosha County Department of Planning and Development had approved the permit back in April and confirmed all restrictions would be met to the satisfaction of the Planning and Developments Committee. The operations, there's been no changes to that. They anticipate about 35,000 in attendance per day, and the sheriff's operation will largely be the same as in the past year, with additional manpower from neighboring agencies to cover, any assistance that they need. And the Kenosha Sheriff's Department doesn't anticipate any complications from this year's event and has no objections to the issuance of the license.
Thank you, Supervisor Blau. Seeing no other lights, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 18 from the Public Works Facilities Committee, a resolution to appoint Captain Michael Brombalski to the Kenosha County Traffic Safety Commission. Elverman, yes. Grady, yes. O'Day, yes. Gilmore, yes. Wambolt, excused. Bostrom, yes. Franco, yes.
Supervisor Elverman, you have the floor.
Thank you. I would move Resolution 18.
I have a first by Supervisor Elverman and a second by Supervisor Grady. Supervisor Elverman.
Captain Robalski came to our meeting and presented himself. He was on duty, and I thanked him for being there, thanked his department for letting him be there. He said he will have no problem attending the meetings, and he also will be a very important person on the Traffic Safety Commission. Has people from all walks of society and from Kenosha County. Police officers are naturally a very important part of that commission. We welcome him. He is taking the place of can't remember the name, but he's new, and he's very willing to serve, and his superiors are very willing to let him serve. So I would urge your approval. And as I said, he attended the meeting, was on duty, was very busy, made sure he was there, and was available.
Thank you, Supervisor Elverman. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Communications from Andy Ambula regarding future items scheduled before the Planning Development Extension Education Committee.
Receive and file.
Approval of the June 6, 2017 minutes by Supervisor Dodge.
Supervisor Dodge, you have the floor.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to approve the meeting minutes for June 6, 2017.
I have a first by Supervisor Dodge and a second by Supervisor Skalitsky. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I have a first by Supervisor Gens and a second by Supervisor Kubicki to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.